Episode 3. The Meeting. The morning breeze visited Sokoto City, providing a healthy start to the day for its inhabitants. The weather was mild, and even though I found it difficult to leave my bed, I knew I had to get up. It was 7 a.m. on a Monday morning, and I had scheduled an appointment with a young politician who had given the youth a voice in Sokoto State. Our meeting was set for 9 a.m., and despite feeling sleepy, I forced my legs to carry me to the bathroom. I dragged myself to the bathroom, took a quick warm water bath, and returned to my bedside for my morning devotions. I had learned to study my body and found that the best way to wake up after a long evening was to start with a bath. As I opened my devotional manual, I noticed that the author had titled the page, "What You Desire." The author continued the story. The young man wanted nothing more than to serve in God's vineyard. He was eager for God to empower him with the ability for healing and deliverance. He had grown up watching his mother suffer at the hands of various illnesses, unable to do anything about it. He lost his mother to the cold hands of death, and shortly afterwards, his father passed away too. He desperately desired the ability to heal so that he would not lose any more loved ones. The author illustrated that his desires were genuine, but his motive was wrong. Deep within him, he thought, if God couldn't do his responsibility right, he, God, should grant him the ability and he will shock God. The intent of his heart was what God was mindful of, and having seen what the young man's thoughts were, God was disappointed. The author went further to charge his audience to be mindful of their motives when they come to God with a petition, for God sees and judges a person's heart first before listening to his request. I was grateful for the morning charge as I whispered a word of prayer to God. I prayed, Father, thank you for this blessed morning. Make it fruitful and make me victorious. I was about to say amen when I had a second thought. My motives, make them align to your will. Amen, I concluded. My home was quite far from my workplace. I left without having breakfast as I was almost late with the clock reading at 8:30 a.m. As I stepped through the glass doors of the Information Communication Organization, my heels clicking on the polished marble floor, the building hummed with the sound of activity as the employees bustled about their workday. It was Monday morning, and I had just returned from a weekend away, a big break from the demands of my job. As I made my way to my desk, I felt a sense of renewed energy and purpose. I was ready to tackle the challenges of the week ahead and make a difference in the world of information communication. The familiar sights and sounds of the organization filled me with a sense of belonging and pride. This was my world, and I was eager to make my mark in it. Magdalena hadn't returned from her honeymoon, leaving me alone in the office. The air conditioner worked perfectly and eased my stressed skin, which had suffered from the harsh weather before getting to the office. The previous day had offered favorable weather, but the next day brought an opposite experience. This is what put Sokoto State on the map, an intense savanna that cuts through humans. The weather forecast was reading 47 degrees Celsius, which can cook and boil rice. I went through my notes before setting out with the crew to the young politician's office. The political office was grandiose, with towering bookshelves and ornate furnishing. The large oak decks dominated the room, and its surface was covered with neatly stacked papers and a few scattered pens. The walls were adorned with portraits of past leaders gazing down upon the current occupant with a sense of worthy expectation. The room was bathed in a warm glow of chandelier overhead, casting a soft light that imbued the space with gravitas. A large window overlooked the bustling city below, offering a sweeping view of the streets and their people. The crew, consisting of the man behind the camera, an assistant and myself, followed the secretary to Mr. Yusuf Barnabas' office. He was a young man in his late 30s who welcomed us with a warm smile and ushered us to our seats as I composed to myself, ready to ask my questions. "Good morning once more, sir," I began. "Good morning," he replied with his best smile. Since we weren't live on camera, I skipped the introduction and proceeded directly to the questions, having barely 5 minutes to run the interview. "Thank you once more for this opportunity, sir." "My pleasure," he said. "By being the youngest politician in the state, what advice will you give the youths who aspire to follow your steps?" He smiled. "Dream." I was baffled. "Dream? A one-word answer?" I was still thinking if to press on or go to the next question when I heard him say, "Dream. Dare to dream. If you believe in your dreams, you will believe in the possibility of achieving them. You need to conceive a dream bigger than yourself, one that has the capacity to birth into reality." Many youths fail to dream, while others barely pay attention to their dreams. To be successful, you have to dream big and believe in yourself. If you can dream it, you can achieve it. Wow, that's an eye-opener, sir. Thank you so much for sharing that. How can the youth benefit from this new government, sir? The previous administration did quite a great job of assisting the youth of the state, and we plan to add to their programs. I urge all youths to be present when called upon. The previous administration provided job schemes for unemployed graduates for over 4 years. However, most youths did not jump at the opportunity. Instead, they complained about the pay and barely reported to their place of assignment. Some even frustrated the efforts of the government. We plan to make some changes to the scheme this year. The modification will be reflected on the portal. Thank you for that, sir. It's reassuring to know that the scheme will be operational in this government. Lastly, what closing message do you have for our listeners, sir? Believe in what God tells you about yourself, rather than what others have to say. He made things beautiful in His time. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, sir. God bless you. I said as I closed my notebook. You are welcome. It's always a pleasure. He gave me his card to keep in touch. I left the office feeling as though I had an encounter with an angel. If I can dream it, I can be it. I dream it, I believe God, He actualizes it. God made things beautiful in His time. These words will repeat in my mind, and I know that God was talking to me about psalmist.